Maybe it will, maybe it won't. So coming into Wuji stance, I'd like you to give yourself a really generous stride. I don't want horse stance like this, but I'd like hip width maybe a bit more. We want to give our pelvis, bao mao, some space, our uterus some space. We want to give this whole pelvic area a lot of ease and space. And to do that, we need to have the legs relatively wide. So we're just coming into some peace, into this celebration of what it will be the shortest day of the year, which this year I feel very deeply into winter in a wonderful way. Normally I might fight it a bit more, but I feel deeply into winter. But I'm also looking forward to the return of the light when it arrives. And I'm just going to invite you, as I often do, just to find your feet. Don't worry about too much for the rest of the body, just making sure everything is relaxed, so all the joints are open. But I'd like you to move around the soles of your feet as if they are, let's start with almost like an oblong. So you're finding the corners of your feet, across the heels, across the front of your feet. And as you do so, your knees are naturally bending. Not in any effortful way, so wu wei, effortless effort. We're just going to move around, finding those corners that we don't often find or work with, and maybe observing perhaps where it is harder, where you are a little stuck. And if it feels right to do so, maybe you could stop at that point and just breathe into it, considering that point and asking, what does it need to have a little more movement? But this is all with this intention of effortless effort. Very slow, very still. The mountain doesn't move at speed, but it does move once you get it going. Let's just go the other way. Lovely. And does it feel different this way? Are there different places that feel a little stuck? A little not really wanting to move? And how's the rest of the body feeling? My hips are wanting to join in. So if you feel you want a more expansive move, then do join. Make sure the knees are nice and soft. And perhaps we can imagine the feet now are almost like circles. So perhaps we are sending a circle round. And spirals is a big theme within Chinese medicine, how energy spirals through the body. So as we do this, we are almost bringing a spiral in. Perhaps we can imagine even the hips being on, the corkscrew. They probably don't make them like that anymore. But, the really windy one. You probably just look at a bottle of wine these days and the lid comes off. But just a spirally one, like a pig's tail. Imagine that is what you are doing, and just bringing a bit more movement in. So now we're moving more into joint opening form, where we are releasing up those joints that get a little bit stuck in the night. And that is the purpose of this practice, really, to bring the energetic flow back to the body. Let's go back the other way. And Tai Chi, Wu, Qi Gong, which is the style that I practice mostly of Qi Gong, is a self-healing form. Most Qi Gongs are, but they all come in different flavours. They can be more martial arty, dare I say, more performative, in the same way that yoga comes in different flavours. You've got the lying down type, perhaps restorative, where not a lot goes on, or feels like not a lot goes on, or the more flowy type stuff. Let's just bring ourselves back into Wu Qi stance. So let's just take a moment. But this Qigong is all about moving the energy, allowing the body to heal. It's what it wants to do, homeostasis. That is what we are made to do, be in balance. And just let that energy settle, maybe bringing your eyes to a soft close there, and just allowing, as if you've shook a snow globe, just allowing that energy just to settle down. And I'd like you to start moving backwards and forwards on the soles of your feet. So we've been round in that circle and the square, but if you could come forwards into your toes, backwards into your heels, forwards into your toes, backwards into your heels. And it doesn't actually have to even be lifting the toes or lifting the heels. So it can be, it's whatever feels right for you. But it's about finding, you found the corners before and what was happening there. This is about finding that central space. So you know the importance once we're in our preparatory stance, once we start, and often when we're in Wu Qi stance, of finding kidney one, bubbling spring, that space, that hole that enables you to connect into the earth. And as we know in Chinese medicine, everything is connected. And importantly, as human beings, emphasis on the being, we are between heaven and earth, and we need to find that connection back into the earth. It's that place that keeps us grounded. Often when the rest of the world is going crackers around us, if we could just find ourselves into bubbling spring, kidney one, drawing the energy down. So, you know, when there's so much excitement or fear or whatever there is when we are in our heads, this is where the energy gets stuck. And actually we want a healthy balance between heaven as our head is and earth as our feet is. We want that healthy balance. That's what we're trying to achieve, or we will achieve, through our Qi Gong, that balance between heaven and earth. So finding kidney one, just coming into stillness for a moment. Apologies to those practicing outside. I hope you don't get cold, but this will be a relatively inward still class because of where we are, the depth of winter. And because there's so much around, even behind me, I'm exciting you with the lights of my tree. I should have turned those off. I'm exciting you. Okay, so just relaxing the knees, dipping into the feet, taking that full support, checking that you're not tilting either way on your feet. So ankles are nicely central above the heel. You're slightly more in the front of your feet. Finding that space out of kidney one. Knees are soft. Hips are slightly tilted forwards, and you can feel that rise coming out of the pelvis and the lengthening of the back. And this enables the qi to flow around in a circuit through the body. And if we were to be too upright or leaning backwards, we won't achieve that circle coming round. And then I'd like you to relax the shoulders. Move the arms away from the side of the body. Perhaps you want to just take them away just so you can feel that they actually are. So some space for the heart, the empress, to breathe. And then imagining grapes between your fingers and your tiger's mouth. The tiger's mouth, very important, between the forefinger and the thumb. This is where we release a lot of energy we no longer need. Colon 4 is an exit route just here on the thumb. You can see colon 4 is this point here. But it's a really important exit point to release things, great for headaches and that sort of stuff, but it's just a general releasing point. So we want the tiger's mouth open, but I don't want any of this strain. So there's no forcing with the hands like this. It's a gentle opening. It's an awareness to opening. And maybe as we're doing things, you may catch yourself and go, oh, look, tiger's mouth's closed, need to open it up. I found myself, got a little shoulder niggle at the moment, and the shoulder's so much to do with the heart. And I was practicing and being observed, and I was told, look, you've got your thumb across your palm, and the same arm as the shoulder issue. And to me, straight away, that was, oh, I'm trying to protect my heart in the same way my shoulder is. This is fascinating. So Even those, not that I want you to be cerebral and thinking about what you're doing, but maybe I often find patients lying on the bed and they'll have their fists, and I just gently open their hands. Even just those everyday, almost imperceptible things that we habitually do, let's check in with them. So shoulders away from the ears. Golden column of light coming from into the top of the head, into back way. And actually we have energetic points outside of the body. So even before we get to back way on the top of the head, energetic points that are connecting into heaven, and just feeling that golden column of light just coming in through the top of the head. And then I'd like you to feel that warm energy start to come through the head, down through the neck, across the chest, into the shoulders, the upper arms, the lower arms, the wrists, the hands, through the fingers. And back into the chest, imagine that gorgeous golden glow just rolling slowly, deeply through your chest, your upper back, your lower back, into the lower dantian. This is the space below the belly button, the lower dantian. This is our engine house. It's where the spark of life, the vitality sits. And in fact, as we practice our Qi Gong, this is where the energy comes from. So feeling that golden light into that area too. And then feeling it just drifting gently, just drip, 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 maybe like some wax just going down the tops of the thighs, through the knees, front and back, the calves, the shins, to the ankles, the feet, through all of the little toes, the big toes, all of the toes. And then I want you to imagine roots just grounding you, taking you steadily into the earth. Just feeling for that moment of the whole body being full of this beautiful golden liquid. And then choosing a colour, whatever feels right for you. I'd like us to receive that colour in golden sparkles. It's going to trickle upwards through the toes, the feet, the ankles, the lower legs, upper legs, into the lower dantian, lower back, to the chest, the arms, elbows, wrists, hands. Up through that neck does so much, and into the head. And when we reach the head, perhaps you can imagine that sparkle releasing through the eyes, the ears, the mouth, the nose, all of our orifices, upper orifices. And then just being complete by closing off the door at the top of the head. The original teacher of Tai Chi, Qi Gong, Dr. Shen, called this the happiness gate. So we're just not closing off the gate to happiness, but we are sealing in the happiness with those golden sparkles. Couple of deep breaths here. Lovely. And when you're ready, let's have a little shake out. Remembering, starting with the hands, we're going to shake out as though we really mean it, but also as if we have water on our hands, some stuff on our hands that we no longer need that we're just going to shake off. And the idea here is that we shake it back off into the earth, because the earth knows how to deal with this stuff. It recycles all the time. It takes the nutrients from the leaves and it feeds the roots of the trees. And so we're just going to trust that the earth can take back what we no longer need and recycle that for us. And when you feel you've done your arms, we can move to the legs. I was just going to say one at a time. It'd be pretty spectacular if you could do both at the same time, with feet off the ground. Just making sure you get into everything, including the buttock, which is often gripped. Making sure the ankles are moving, feet are moving, everything's going out. And then if you can just point your toes directly down, so you can see. And then bringing the heel back up, the toes up and the heel up. We're just stretching out the bladder meridian there at the back of the leg. Pointing away, stretching the inner thigh, liver, spleen, kidneys, and then outer gallbladder and the stomach. Give it a little shake again, and onto the other leg. Again, making sure you actually are letting go of everything. Letting the buttock be loose, the knees and the ankles. When you feel ready, let's just tip our toe forward. Not too far away from the body. This isn't a strenuous exercise, it's just a tipping forward. And then bringing up the toes and the heel. Noticing is there a difference between the sides. We go inwards first this time. Stretching out the outer leg, gallbladder, stomach. And pointing outwards, liver, kidney, spleen. Another little shake. Cool. Okay, we're ready. Let's do some heaven and earth Dao Yin. It's one of my favourites, and you know, it's much like point stomach 36. As acupuncturists, we're a bit like, it's the point you never regret, but a lot of acupuncturists poo-poo it because it's like, oh, such an obvious one. Heaven and earth Dao Yin feels like an obvious one to me, but it's just so beautiful and does everything we need. So we come hip width apart. I actually do like to take a broader stance. Maybe my hips are wider than I realise. And I'd really invite you to look down and make sure that you have your feet at least hip width apart. And as much as anything, this is about when we come down, that you have the space to come down with a more rounded back. This isn't a dead press. This is a more rounded back, almost like a frog. So I have my legs wide apart, slightly dodgy knees. Don't really want to say they're dodgy, you know. So yeah, hip width apart. And because we've already done the work, we know where kidney 1 is. And we're going to bring ourselves further forward into our toes. Heels aren't raised, but they are, you know, they're not fully flat onto the ground. And we're going to bend the knees. Bring the hands in front of us. So I've got them bent like this, fingers are facing forwards. And then I'm going to invite you to spiral the hands out. I'm just doing that quickly so you can see, spiraling out. And if you do it, and you can do it several times just to get the feel for it, moving from the little finger, the small intestine, the organ that sorts the pure from the impure, just going to help us rotate out. And what you may notice as you rotate the hands out is this bit here. We're moving from this part. I can't remember what we call that now. It's pink something or other. Pink mouse, that's it, pink mouse. Pink mouse is moving us out. A Dr. Shonism. Okay, so let's just rotating the hands gently. And as you do that, I know as I rotate out, I'm feeling that into my shoulders. And that's what I'd really like us to do this morning. Really effortless effort, but really notice those tiny, tiny moves and what a big difference they can make. Just feeling that into the whole of the shoulder. Then we're going to rotate the hands around to the front, facing forwards. We'll pick up the speed a little here. I just wanted to focus on those hands just to, you know, bring us into a little bit of attunement with the movement. Remember the arms away from the armpit is open. We're going to raise the hands up to shoulder height, keeping our heads forwards. Ideally, the eyes are open now, but as ever, I'd say if you feel you want to close your eyes, then do, because I know for some people that helps feel into the energy in the body. I know it does for me. Strictly speaking, if we were practicing as intended, our eyes would be open. And that's also quite important because the eyes are part of our sensory system and they also enable us to send out. So they're not just about receiving, they can send out too. They're an upper orifice. So we can use them in that way. And when we practice like this, the idea is that we have a very wide view. So you've both been to the mountains. Imagine we're back in Molino del Rey and the view is as wide as can possibly be through the mountainside. Okay, and then we're going to sort of rotate the hands very gently round to face up. And once we're there, we can bring the arms back up above our heads. When we get here, when the arms are apart, probably hip width apart. And just get you to think about your shoulders, so you're just loose in the shoulders. And we're going to play with the energy here, so moving the hands backwards and forwards. Just checking briefly, are your knees soft? Keeping everything effortless. And we just see, is there energy between your hands? Can you feel it expand and contract? Lovely. You may feel nothing, but if you feel something, lovely. Don't worry, it comes. And then next time, bringing the hands in, I'd like you to bring them together above the top of the head. And we're going to straighten our bodies up. So you're really going to feel this movement upwards through the whole of the front of the body. Really lengthening. Keeping the head facing forwards for now. Really, really lengthening. And then just relaxing down. Finding that place that isn't effortless in many ways. Open the arms again, and this time look up. And then bringing the head back forwards, I'm going to invite you to bring the palms backwards. And so the palms are replicating the feet just in the opposite way. And here we are, properly connected between heaven and earth again. Just spending a moment here, checking through the body. Is everything easeful? Buttocks loose, shoulders down. And then let's just bring the hands together and we'll trace down the front of the body. And if you are feeling up to it, let's do a little chant as we come down. So the eyes do close for this part, and in front of the forehead. Bending the knees as you go. We want the knees to be fairly well bent by the time you get to the lower dantian. Hum. And as we reach the lower dantian, the hands separate, back to back, and then they open the eyes, and then we trace down the inside of the thighs. And when we come to about 3 fingers breadth above the ankle bone, don't worry too much about being specific, and don't worry too much if it's interfering with the meditative stuff. But what's lovely is to bring the Lao Gong, the palms of the hands, those energy points, to this point on the inside of the lower leg. This is spleen 6. It's a really beautiful point, particularly for women, great for blood. And if you notice my back, I'm not doing this deadlifting. My back is slightly rounded because my shoulders are coming round. And I'm expanding the back in that way. So the bladder meridian gets to really spread out. And then as usual, let's just trace around the front of the feet, coming up the sides, up the back, to the middle, tracing the belly. And this movement of tracing around the belly, the knees are still bent, by the way. This movement of tracing around the belly is almost waste. It's almost drawing out the things that we don't want anymore in that area, drawing that out and then offering it back out. And then moving the hands, spinning them around, coming back to the shoulder. And the knees can begin to straighten, but not completely, obs, as we get to the top here. And then you can do that really total straightening out, drawing everything up the front of the body. Looking up, stretching the hands back, looking forwards. Imagining that wonderful wide mountain vista. Okay, and bring the hands together as we calm down the front of the body. Releasing the hands, tracing the inside. Spending a moment there at spleen 6 with Lao Gong, just sending the energy in. Tracing around the body. And then I'm going to shush, except for the chanting. And we'll do this a few more times, just at your own pace, in your own way. in whatever speed that you need, but just bring that effortless wu wei effort into this. Om. Ah. Hum. Om. Ah. Hum. Om. Ah. Hum. Om. Ah. Hum. And don't feel that you need to be at the same speed as me. Remember when we're in class, when we're in the mountains together, people humming at different times. So don't feel that my chanting is a call for you to be at the same place as me. Just go in your own time. Om. Ah. Hum. Om. Ah. Hum. And as ever, if anything needs to come out, and let it go. That's the whole purpose of this. It's that opportunity to let go of what you don't need anymore. Leave it all behind. And the next time that you find yourself facing down to earth, just going to invite you to spend a few moments here, having a little dangle. It'd be a little yin yoga move, the dangle. But just so that you can absolutely release off your back as much as possible. So the bladder meridian starts inside the eye, in fact, but it runs all the way over the head, goes up and down the back several times, then down through the buttock and the back of the legs, and then eventually ends up on the side of the little toe. So I want us to, as far as we can, just release that off. I quite like to create a little seal, not the type, the rounded connection where everything is connected by placing my hands under my feet. But I know that's not for everybody, and you don't have to do it with a straight leg. In fact, bent leg is really what I would advise anyway. So just to be here and let the head just dangle down and feeling the stretch that you're getting throughout perhaps the buttocks, the back of the thighs, the calves. These are areas that energy gets stuck quite a lot. So just taking a few deep breaths here, releasing the shoulders, letting the neck just hang loose. Spending a few moments just taking some long, slow, deep breaths. Just allowing the body to feel the weight of the head as it pulls the upper body down. Connecting the head in some ways to the earth, which is quite an unusual thing for us to do. And then as we come up, I'd like to do it really, really slowly and find yourself halfway. Put your hands above your knees, just because we don't want that sudden rush of coming up too slow, too fast. And then round your shoulders, bring yourself up, but your head should be the last thing that comes up. And then we can just complete that circuit by just bringing our arms back round above our head, back into prayer, and then just coming down one last time with an Om Ahom. Om Ah Om. And bringing the arms down by the side and letting the energy settle. I don't know about you, but I really notice the different places in my body that resonate as I chant. And it's such a beautiful feeling of enlivening those sparkles again that we invited in earlier in our practice. So just allow things to settle. And we're going to, let's think. Yeah, we're going to do a variation of dropping post, which dropping post we would just do this with our feet bouncing on our heels. But with this, what we're going to be doing is rising up on our heels in a kind of sort of sudden movement. And as we do so, our arms come to the back. We'll see if you can follow that. So that heels, sometimes it could be a bit complicated for the arms and the legs. So get the heels right first. And then you've got the heels right, sorry, that's bashing as well. So the heels go and the arms go back as well. And they go quite quickly. And this is a kind of purging motion, but it's bringing energy into the calves again, which is the area where most people get tightness when they're practicing this form of Qi Gong. Don't know about you, but I can already feel heat coming into my calves, which feels good. Because where there's pain in Chinese medicine, this is stuck energy, it's just a traffic jam. So when we bring heat in, that's why we prefer heat for pain and cold. I know many types of medicine like a bit of cold on some pain. And yes, if it's acute and red and burning, then you don't want to put heat on it. But for most pain, the heat, we'll just do a couple more of these, brings movement, brings energy, releases and relaxes. You know, it's like putting the sun on something as opposed to blowing on it, or, you know, you're going to be able to move more freely. Okay, let's just come back. See how that feels now. And my new, one of my new favourites, Golden Ball. There's a great joke about David Beckham in there that I love to say every time, so excuse me, I can't help myself. So we're going to practice Golden Ball, which is a beautiful practice, which you can practice, you know, it's a bit like when we do the full joint or opening form. It's one of those things that you can just do for 10 minutes or 5 minutes or a minute even, and it's you've done everything you need to do in many ways. So Golden Ball is about moving the energy in every direction that the Qi moves. So up, down, out, in, out, all of that. But there's 8 different ones. So if you haven't done it before, don't worry, we're going to go nice and slow. And if you have done it before and you want to go faster, no worries at all. But quite nice to feel the energetic connection of us all doing it together to start. So the way we start with Golden Ball is we'll just bring the arms out to the side just loosely, because the first move we're going to do is a gathering of the chi. So we're going to gather the chi between our palms. Remember, your fingers are all spread and tiger's mouth is there. Armpits, remember, everything's loose, knees, hips, everything. So we're going to gather the chi. So we're bringing our hands down to our lower dantian. We're not touching, by the way. They are on the outside of our lower dantian. So we've gathered the chi. And now we're going to raise the chi so the hands come out to the front. So gather and raise. And now we're going to expand the chi as if we had a great big ball between our hands. And then we'll contract the chi. And then we're going to pull it in. So we're coming in. And then we're going to push out. And then we're going to descend. And the final of the 8 is disperse. Okay, let's go again. So just starting, and then we're going to gather the chi to the lower dantian. We're going to raise the chi. So imagine you've got a ball of energy. Sorry, that's the dog snoring. You can hear it. Ball of energy under the hand. So you're going to raise the ball. So just imagine that you have this golden ball. And then you're going to expand the ball of energy out. I love that. It feels so good. And then you're going to contract and bring the ball in, and nothing's being forced. So, it can always feel like grabbing at the ball, but don't do that. Just loosely holding the ball. And then you're going to bring the ball in and push the ball out. Descend. And then let's take a moment and disperse. Easy to forget the dispersing one because your hands are down by that point, but let's really disperse. And coming back to start. Gather. Raise. Expand. Contract. In. Out. Descend. Disperse. Prepare. Gather. So as you're doing this, just envisioning or feeling or whatever it is that you need, energy between the palms. You might even need to bring the palms close together to see if you can feel anything. And sometimes it takes a little while, many, many years, quite a lot of practice to rise. Sometimes it happens more easily. So just whatever it is for you, but no forcing. It's all effortless effort. And, people often ask, oh, what is it I will feel or I can feel? Really, that's for you. Let's bring it in. So from my experience, I get a warm, very warm palms pushing out. Sometimes there's a tingling. Sometimes there is a feeling of energy in whatever form that is, whether it be, can be hard or soft or intractability, whatever it is, but just feeling into your experience. You're preparing again. I'm often asked in practice, what should I feel? Should's a terrible word, isn't it? There is no should. It's just whatever it is there for you. Rising. Expanding. Contracting. Pushing out. Descend. And disperse. Okay. Let's gather. rise, expand, contract, and keep the shoulders nice and soft. Everything else for that matter. Pulling in, pushing out, descend, disperse, and again, prepare, and gather, rise, pull in, push out, descend, disperse, prepare, gather, rise, expand, contract, push in, push out, descend, disperse. Let's prepare. And although I gather, it's not about drawing you into your mind, but one of the things that I quite like to do in this practice is feeling into what feels really good. So expansion feels lovely. So there's contraction, but there will be probably one of those energetic movements that either there's not a lot to feel or feels like you might need to do it more. Really invite you to feel what that one might be. For instance, when we're here, I kind of want to keep pushing out. And that's okay, it kind of takes me forward. If that's what you need to do, then, come out of the meditation of the golden ball and do what you need. Or maybe take note of it and say, oh yeah, that's what I might just do in a quiet 5 minutes for myself. I think it's really interesting to note which of the energetic movements feels good, because that will probably give you a clue as to where your energetic strengths are. And then maybe there will be some that are more difficult or not giving you as much, and that could be where there's some work to maybe develop. And each of these energetic movements relate to different organs as well. Not in this one's the lungs or the liver or whatever, but in yes, that certain organs have that energetic ability. So for instance, just need to think about what I'm doing. The stomach would descend energy. So this movement wouldn't be, a natural stomach movement, the rising one. The descending one would be much more. Okay, I need to think where I am. Expanding, coming in. I always get caught in those wanting to be, playful and learn more about myself in the different movements. But really, all you need is just to be here and doing the practice. It's just for those with curious minds, which I know we all have. So preparing and gathering and rising, expand, contracting, descending. Oh, I forgot, sorry. In, out, down. I will just do a couple more. Disperse. So prepare and gather and rise. Expand, contract, pull in, push out, descend, disperse. And then one last one. Prepare and gather. Raise, expand, contract, pull in, push out, descend, despair. And just let the chi settle for a moment. And then let's have a good old shake out. So hands first, arms first. Get to the legs. And because it is nearly deepest, darkest winter, let's just do a little bit of movement so that we can connect to our kidneys. Just through the swinging, really, bringing all the organs into connection, having done all the different energy movements of Qi in the organs. So we just bring our arms out to the side and we're just going to swing around. We all know this one. So the feet are hip width apart. We're not really moving the feet. We are moving around and the knees are soft. But what I'd like you to focus on is tapping the lower back there. So sending energy into the kidneys. So, as I mentioned, the bladder meridian runs all the way up the back and up and down the back, but we have points directly for the kidneys on that meridian. There's that meridian, and this where we're tapping is the point for the kidneys. So we're just warming the kidneys up. And if you haven't got Haramaki yet, spelt Haramaki, Haramaki, you need to look it up. And you need to get one. Haramakis are belly warmers, but they are Haramaki is a Japanese word, but you can use a scarf or anything, but they're so important this time of year to keep the lower dantian, this lower area, and the gate of life at the back there, keep it warm. If you can keep your core warm, you can keep the rest of you warm. They are brilliant gifts for people as well. People are always very pleased. I keep meaning to buy one for myself. They got a beautiful one with them. Squirrels on, which I quite fancy. So yeah, keeping the kidney area warm is very, very important. And let's just tap into the lungs. So remember, the kidneys and the lungs work together and bringing the breath in. I have a beautiful relationship there. So anyone with breathlessness, important to warm their kidneys as well as take care of their lungs. Nice. Let's come round to below the ribs, to the liver there on the right and stomach and spleen on the left. Nice. Right. And then just finishing up with tapping into the chest and then tapping into the middle of the lower back. So we're now connecting the heart and the kidneys again, and again, a beautiful axis that can be almost seen as the hormonal axis between the heart and the kidney. So vital to have those connected and also keeping us upright. Right. Just needed to bring a little bit more energy into us there. So let's just bring the hands down to a stop. Now we're just going to do some scissor hands again, just to bring a little bit of extra warmth in before we settle in for the last few minutes where we're going to do a deep yin meditation using the body as well. So scissor hands, just like this. Again, another, all Qi Gong, if you do like 5 minutes, a minute, whatever it is of it, this is really helpful just on its own. So if you're feeling stressed or just need a minute, 30-second break from something, this can really change everything up, changes up all the energy. So you're not moving your feet. You can bend your legs as you go. And the arms are just sort of coming up to elbow height. My arms look like they're going a lot higher, but I don't think they are. I think that's just the angle of the camera. Lovely. Actually, this can be quite a cardio move if you make it. If you're here for a long time, which I don't intend to be. Just wanted to get some movement around that middle of the body, which can be a bit stuck in some of the moves that we do. Okay. All right. So, because I know that some of us who are doing this live have to leave a few minutes early, I'm going to remind them to do their closing Dao Yin when they get a moment, just to close the energy down. Marvellous. Okay, so let us go into this beautiful meditation around 3 acupuncture points. So Ren 6, which is a few fingers breadth below the belly button. This is the Sea of Qi. The front of the body is the yin aspect of the body. So Ren is the female or yin extraordinary vessel. So it's an extraordinary meridian, not a sort of an everyday one. It's an extra special one, full of loads of yin. So it's a reservoir of all this amazing yin energy, which is cooling and moistening and calming and tranquil and female and dark and just all those wonderful things that make you feel enveloped. And we're also going to work with the Ren 1. And one of the reasons I'm using this meditation today is because we're coming up to the longest night, which will be the most yin of days and nights, because it'll be much more yin than it will be yang. And Ren 1 is in the centre of the perineum, and it's an extraordinary point, which I don't use a great deal in clinic, but it is very, very powerful. It's the beginning of the female meridian. And then coming back to the lower back, so coming around in a little circle here, we're coming to Do 4, which is just about where the back bends. It's just about in the centre there on the spine. It's the gate of vitality, Ming Men. It is, you have to have heat and you have to have cold. You have to have yin and yang. And Do 4, the gate of destiny, is on the yang meridian, which is on the back of the body. So we've got yin on the front, yang on the back. And what we're going to do is a little meditation which moves us from the yin into the yang, which is helpful as we move from the biggest yin, what's his name? Billy Connolly, the big yin, moving from the biggest yin into the yang. So always a really special time of year for me. I love the light. So I love the hope that the light brings. And I love observing what's going on. You know, oh my God, it's lighter in the evening. It's not dark at 3 o'clock anymore, that kind of feeling. Anyway, so just going to invite you into Wuchi stance, into some stillness. And maybe let's do a quick body scan to check that we have our feet firmly into the ground and we are connecting through kidney 1, through the soles of our feet into the earth. So we're feeling rooted as we did with that beginning meditation that we did, which enabled us to grow those roots into the ground. So we're really feeling very held by the earth. And let's just scan up through the body that the ankles are soft, the knees are soft, the hips are loose, the dog is snoring. The lower back is, the pelvis is slightly tilted forward to enable this flow of qi, which is particularly important in what we're about to do. And that the shoulders are down, the armpits are open, tiger's mouth, your fingers all have space. And most importantly, that the head is on top of the neck and the shoulders, but in an aligned way. And that you can feel that golden column that's just holding you upright. So you are totally held between heaven and earth. And I invite you to close your eyes, really settle into your body. And I want you to start to imagine the qi in your into Ren 6 here, a few fingers breadth below your belly button. And I want you to visualize this space as a sea, a gentle lapping sea, calm, tranquil, sea. And maybe over the edge of the sea, there's a horizon there. Everything is calm. Maybe we can imagine the sea of Qi on the longest night. So perhaps we can envisage the yang of the moon just reflecting down onto that sea. And feeling into the space in your body, that tranquility. Maybe a few laps as the sea meets the shore. But feeling really abundant in this enormity of Qi. And then I'd like you to imagine a drop of this sea is just taking its way down to Ren 1 in the center of the perineum. A drop of this beautiful, pure energy direct from the moonlit sea. Feeling it settle into that space and really nourishing that area. The most female point on the body. The fullest of the yin. A point that really resonates with this deep, deep winter. And just feeling that drop of Qi. Nourishing, calming, cooling, moistening. Just settling into that area of the body. And now we're going to bring that energy up the back to do 4. To gate of vitality. This point between the kidneys on the lower back, which is warming. It's like a cauldron that warms beneath the other organs and gives the vitality and energy that we need. The center of heat and yang, the spark. Maybe this is where the golden globe of the moon begins, warming, connecting and moving. And bringing this light into the light of the yang, into the darkness of the yin, enables us to bring possibilities. Maybe giving us the opportunity to let go. Or maybe just a coming together. A bringing of yang, yin to the yang. And as we imagine this beautiful warmth between the kidneys on the lower back, we're now going to cross into Ren 6 again, to the front of the body. So we'll bring the yang to the yin. And in this way, we're completing a circle of energy within that lower dantian, which is the cycle of yin and yang and of life, the flowing between the opposites. We're bringing the light to the dark, the soft to the hard. Just mixing the two together. And just for one last moment, I'd like us to See the sea in REM 6. Feel that moon on the sea and feel that drop of sea just finding its way to REM 1 and then moving again as if on this rolling movement up to do 4 in the lower back, crossing through the body to REM 6, down to REM 1, up to do 4, round to REM 6, down to REM 1, up to do 4, and then resting in the lower dantian. And maybe you begin to feel the energy moving in that area, and perhaps there's a little more warmth or heat in the whole of the lower dantian. So just bringing yourself gently, with open eyes back into the room. We're going to have one last final little shake before we close our practice with a little closing Dao Yin. And do everything gently and softly. There's been a lot of energy moving during the session. An awakening in that lower dantian, which is such a beautiful area that we very often don't draw attention to unless it's doing something specific or maybe, needs fixing, but nothing needed fixing today. We just wanted to get the energy moving. So feet hip width apart, arms by the side, everything is loose, and we bring the arms up, hands facing forwards, up to the shoulders, just everything's loose, shoulders are loose, elbows are loose, and then bringing the hands down, slightly facing away from the body. Remember, in this practice, we have moved the qi, we've released through the shaking in various forms what we no longer need. Bring the hands round again to face forwards. And in some Qi Gong practices, it's all about, cultivating the qi and putting it back in the body. In my practice, it is about allowing what we no longer need to leave the body. And so this may continue for a little while after the class. So what we don't want to do, as the bin qi, as we call it, is leaving. We don't want to seal it back in again. It's just the way that my school thinks about energy. And everyone has different thoughts and feelings, so whatever works for you, but this is the way that we practice. And then one last one, and what I'd really like is if you could bring a big smile to your face. I forgot to bring the smiles in so much today. So in. There we go. Okay. Couple of deep breaths here. Thank you. May our practice be of benefit not just to ourselves, but to all creatures around the world. Thank you so much. Lovely to see your faces.